What is going on, Draft Degenerates? We're back with yet another interview. This is our interview with Depiz, the finalist that played Toxic in the UDL Season 4. I am here joined by the lovely host of Draft Degenerates himself, Toby. What's going on, Toby?
What the fuck is up? How are we doing today, you sexy beasts?
We're doing great. Hey, Depiz, welcome to the channel, dude. How you doing, dude?
Hi, I'm doing really good, handsome as always, but I think that was already pretty odd.
Fucking guy. Okay. Anyway, we're moving on to the questions. Enough of that shit. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome to the channel, dude. First things first, I just want to say congrats on the finals placement. I feel like it's one of those finals where, you versus Toxic, it's a homie versus a homie. Either way, it's a dub because either you win or a homie wins. You can't really go wrong there. But of course, everybody would like to win. I'm sure you can agree with that. But congrats on the finals placement, regardless. That's really impressive.
Thank you.
Especially since you had a pretty tough road to get there, along with Toxic did too. So you can't really complain in that sense, I feel. What were your original impressions of the format? Because I don't know how experienced you are in low tier. Do you have any pros, cons, any complaints, or pros? Or I already said pros, but like any things you really liked about the format? Like, what was your first impression of it?
I thought the format was really interesting. Not having to fight against like Chiyu and sweaty ass Pokemon. It felt really nice for a change. It felt like I was playing Gen 8. Like, weirdly enough, this felt very Gen 8, like in terms of power level. I really didn't have issues with anything. I thought the tier list was fine. It was all good. My only issue I could even say I had was Arboliva was tier 2, and that shit was my fucking nightmare to deal with.
It's probably moving up next season. That problem.
We talked about that in the last review with Toxic.
Yeah.
Most likely moving up.
Yeah.
I know. I kind of understand your frustration there because I'm pretty sure you played it in the regular season when Wakeman had it. And then I picked it up for my matchup versus you in playoffs. You play it again in finals. Gotcha. I completely understand the frustration. What was your opinion on the playoff format? Like the playoff, like random seeding. Did you like it? Did you didn't? What were your initial thoughts on that?
I actually really liked it. I think it's nice knowing who you're gonna fight. It kind of helps you prep. But this is also really unique. There's with playoff trades. There's it feels like there's less chance of counterplay since it's random. It's not oh, I'm for sure gonna fight the first seed or the third seed, so I'm gonna pick this, which is gonna help me out. I just you don't get to do that, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I like the random structure for that sense of you have to make a general improvement to your team. You have to actually try to make your team better and not just draft a mon that's going to counter an opponent that you're gonna have. Because you don't know who you're gonna have, but I see why people don't like randomization. I see why people do like randomization. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I feel like it's good in certain formats, and I think it's maybe not good in maybe a higher caliber, more prestige league or something like that. But I think a league like UDL that's just kind of fun it's a good place for it. So I have a question, actually. I want to know... Let's talk about your team a little bit. I have it pulled up on my screen here. Tell me a little bit about this team here. What is different about it from the start of the season versus the end of the season, and did it improve at all? How do you feel how it performed throughout the whole season? Just give us some insight about how you feel about this squad that you've got going on here.
So... it changed a little bit. So I used to have Coolfish over Orthworm, and I dropped I originally wanted Arboliva, but I kind of didn't read, so Hunter picked it up. So I was like, oh shoot, I don't know I want something different on my team. And I was like, I really like Coolfish because it helps me a lot with fighting types and a bunch of annoying fairies and stuff like that, and waters. But I just decided to put on Orthworm because it was just better Fortress and a lot of it was something another Pokemon I can Earthquake next to with Hippowdon, and it was actually a Pokemon I originally wanted on my team, but it got sniped from me.
Okay, for sure. And then how do you feel your team's performance was throughout this season? Was there anything that you would have done differently with it, looking back on it in hindsight, or?
Nah, I liked my team a lot. I have to say this like for lower tier format, I thought this was one of the better teams.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. It had like all the support options. I didn't use Clawitzer as much as I thought I would. Like and that was my issue. I probably could have dropped Clawitzer because I just wasn't using it a lot because Qwilfish just tended to be like better because it had the poison typing, so it's just better defensively as a water type, and it could still use like do some damage, and that was the thing. In hindsight, I would have probably gotten a better grass type than that Cactur, and it dropped Clawitzer. But besides that, I think my team was really good. Like you're hearing no complaints from me. I really liked my team.
I think it's good. I think Cacturn's viable personally, especially in low tier. I don't think Cacturn was a bad choice necessarily.
I agree.
And talking about Cloyster, I think the only reason you think that way about Cloyster is because a certain somebody destroyed you with it. But
man, I didn't know Cloyster was gonna go that crazy on me.
It popped off. I wasn't expecting it.
On me too.
Yeah.
It went crazy on me too. I was not expecting it to be good, and it did. So yeah. I have a newfound respect for Cloyster for sure.
Me too.
At the very least in low tier, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd ever draft it in a regular league, but maybe I would in low tier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Any other comments about your team comp or how you feel about it?
I love Noivern. Like I think it's one of the more slept on Pokemon. Like I see a lot of people, they're talking about Iron Jugulus, Kilowatt Trill, they're talking about the priority Tailwind centers, but nobody talks about Noivern, bro. Like that ability Frisk was just so strong for me. Just knowing what items my opponents had, especially versus Toxic, it really helped me out game 1 because I was like, okay, so I'm not gonna be able to one-shot this Tauros with helping hand Boomburst. Because I know it's AV. I'm still gonna go for it because he's not gonna see it coming game 1.
Sure.
But it really helped. It helped my surprise factor be a lot more surprising because it was just unexpected. Like knowing Frisk allowed me to execute my ideas, and I think people should consider drafting Noivern as first pick. I think Noivern is very first pickable in this format.
I would agree.
I can agree with that. 100%.
Hit him with one, Hunter. Give him a question.
So you kind of talked about, how you kind of really didn't change your team around that much until playoffs, and obviously, the Orthworm pickup was pretty big for you a couple of those games, in playoffs. What do you think specifically was the main reason for your success this season? Do you think it was like, comfortability with your team? Do you think it was play, mindset? Like, can you kind of like give us a glimpse on what you think led you to have a lot of success this season?
So I think the success kind of came from a mix of play and team. I think when a team is good, you feel a lot better with it. Like I knew my team was really good. I knew my options and the versatility was off the charts. So I just felt really good with my team. I felt very confident in every matchup. And even when I had the rematch versus Cloyster in playoffs, I still felt really good because now I had better Pokemon now, like Orthworm, that just kind of like said no to Cloyster because, that base 145 defense goes crazy. And that's just how I felt a lot of the season. I was like, dude, like Hippowdon's broken, Noivern is kind of broken, Lycanroc, Palma, like this whole team is really good. I'm going to feel really good. And it was just that mindset going into every game. Like, I know my team is going to do good because I'm good and my team is good.
Fair enough. And I will say you are one of probably this generation's more consistent players thus far. Say what you want about like a Cloyster or something like that happening, but like generally overall, I think especially going into playoffs, a lot of people were thinking either scared, hopeful, whatever, that you were going to win because you're just very, very consistent this gen. You're racking up wins. You're always playing pretty dang well, from what I've seen in the VODs of you. Could you give us some insight into that? Like, how do you maintain such consistency to the point that it's like when you go into a matchup, even if you're not as well known as another player, a lot of people go, "Oh, he might actually do this." Oh, okay.
So I think I think it just comes down to prep. I think if your prep is good, you're just going to win like most matchups. And I think I don't want to toot my own horn. I feel like my prep has always been really good. Like I try looking for like wacko shit, right? Like, like Boomburst Noivern in finals was kind of crazy. I think that was the first time I had ever brought that set. And it kind of worked for it worked really well for game 1. And I think having like bringing good stuff, but like bringing memes as well, like, you know, bringing stuff that isn't usually brought, you can bring that, but you can also, you know, bring something consistent, make it really consistent. And it just comes down to prep, I think, for me. I think when I've noticed a lot of my losses, I just looked back and I was like, man, my prep was really bad. I could have just brought something else to deal with this had I known it would be that big of a threat. And it is that. And also assessing the threat of a Pokemon. Like, everything's a threat when you think about it. Even the low tiers, like Cloyster, put me in BBC lockdown. There was nothing I could do about that Pokemon.
Fair enough. Well, good. But then it comes down to like in gameplay too. I mean, I guess probably partly due to prep too, with like flowcharting and stuff like that. You've obviously prepared for certain leads and certain combos. But like when it comes to gameplay too, like how do you get such consistency in making like your in-game adaptations and stuff too? That's something I really want to know.
That's a good question. I think when I'm playing in-game, something that helps me out is because I work like this. I walk when I play my games. Like that's why I kind of don't record with a face cam when I did record some of my games. It's because I walk around a lot, and that's how I think. I think you could see it in my match versus Sepsky. It just helps me think and, like, you know, get in the zone when I walk around and play. And also, a weakness about me that I'm gonna work on. I play really safe a lot of the times because as much as I like making really big reads, I only do that if I feel like I'm in a bad spot. When I'm in a really good spot, I play safe because I'm not trying to throw, because I'm trying to read in like your Terra, Dragon, and I'm like, oh, you know, like I'm not really thinking about all that. I'm just thinking about like just playing safe, but playing good as well.
Okay, fair enough. Hunter, hit him with one.
All right. I do have a question for you. Now, I don't know if you can really answer this, but if you had to pick one Pokemon on your team that you would designate as your MVP this season, it could be like any Pokemon you've had on the season or on your team this season. Like, which one would it be?
Sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I thought I heard something.
No.
For me, it's like a two-way tie between Misdreavus and Noivern. I think they were some of my favorite Pokemon to use. Misdreavus was just really, really bulky. Like, you put an Eviolite on that, and it just wouldn't die. Like, it was eating the Tauros Wave Crash. It was eating those special hits really well. And its support move pool is insane. Icy Wind, Taunt, Parasol, Helping Hand, Imprison, Trick Room. It has consistent damage and Nightshade, so you don't even have to invest in its attacking stats that much. And then there's Noivern with its great speed. It's really good like utility as well, like taunts. You have the Tailwind. Mm-hmm. Those two really made the team. The team really wouldn't have been what it was without them.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you used those two Pokemon prior to UDL?
Yeah, in Gen 8, I drafted Noivern a lot. I think I drafted it like 3 times prior to going into Scarlet and Violet. And then the league I played before GLDL, SCEA, I drafted Noivern again, and it was a really good Pokemon. And I'd never drafted Misdreavus, but I've already drafted it in UDL too, like after I saw how good it was in UDL. So I'm just saying, man, don't be sleeping on those two.
Hey, don't be sleeping. Don't be sleeping.
Misdreavus is probably one of the more underestimated NFEs for sure. That thing's got a toolkit.
Sure. That's pretty solid.
And I think both of those Pokemon, especially together, actually work pretty well because they've got a little bit of, I guess, hidden synergy, not necessarily, but like we saw it in the finals match, right? With like Terra Normal Boom Burst right next to Misdreavus. Misdreavus doesn't care about that, and Noivern can just do whatever it wants, and Misdreavus can lay down the support moves. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good in my book.
Yeah, it was really, really solid.
Which I guess that's a pretty natural segue to like the finals match itself. So you made it all the way to finals versus Toxic. Give us some insight on like what your prep process was, and like how many iterations of a team did you go through? What changed from pace to pace? What was your like mindset, prep versus play?
I think something I don't know if anybody knows this. I don't do like mocks and stuff like that. I used to do them, but mocks would kind of lure me into like a false sense. That's how I felt about them. I think they're good, but I never liked doing mocks because I felt like I was too tunnel visioning on what my like mock partner was doing, to where if they didn't do that, like I felt like I would sometimes I would counter team for what my mock partner was bringing, and it just didn't feel good. So what I just did is I just looked at the 6 Pokemon that were really good. I was like, dude, he's got like only 1 normal resist, and it's Kakaraja, which is not a real or normal resist, into my team. So I just, I brought the Boom Burst Noivern because I thought it would be kind of funny, and yeah, I mean, my prep process is pretty simple. It's just what looks good, and I don't really do much else. I do 1 pace. Usually I change some stuff here and there. I didn't have Perish Song on Mischievous. I had Nightshade, but I changed it to Perish Song in case I fought like a really bulky stall Arboliva, like Florgestet, and that was kind of the idea with the Mischievous. But other than that, I don't really do mods. I don't have a lot of pace like running around. It's just simple prep.
Yeah, I get it. Hunter, get him one.
If you had to pick one matchup, it can be in the regular season or playoffs, what do you think was your hardest matchup this season? Like, I'm not like, it could be just like against a player, like I'm talking like team to team matchup. Like, what is one matchup you're like, man, that one's hard?
It would have to be you, Hunter. Like, honest to God.
Really?
Like, yeah, because I don't know if you've noticed, I have a pretty negative record into you. It's like we're 2-1, right? You've beaten me twice.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
You beat me in finals in the All-Star GLDL thing, and then you beat me regular season as well. And it's just because your team is good, dude. Like, your team was really good, and you're a really good player. And like that Rain Dance Bronzong was just so good into me. Like, I wouldn't even have thought about that. And like, I only won by the skin of my teeth, dude. When you did protect, that was like the only way I could have won. And I mean, I was like, dude, I know Hunter's good. He kind of wants to protect, but I'm kind of a pussy sometimes, and I just play safe. Sometimes I just don't feel like doing a really big read.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the nice words. I felt like our matches were always pretty good. This is also kind of like a segue into something we talked about before, but it kind of piques my interest a little bit because Toby kind of mentioned some of the more consistent performances you've had as of late. Like, we're talking, the GLDL Basque Legion Championship. You won Basque Legion, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Just making sure. The Basque Legion Championship, which was that your first championship?
Yeah, that was my first championship. Yeah. That was my second league in Scarlet and Violet too.
Yeah. Like, that's really impressive, winning your second league in a new generation. Like, it's pretty impressive. And then not only that, you made finals in the GLDL All-Star Tournament, knocking out really competent players who've won in the past. And on top of that, you've also just made finals in the UDL Gauntlet, which was hard for everybody. And then it was a playoff bracket that was designed to be hard every single round, and you made finals. Can you kind of like, I don't really know how I can explain this question, but like, how does one go about that? Like, what is like, what's your secret sauce? Like, we already kind of asked you this, but we're talking about like straight finals in super hard leagues going into this. Is it like a team thing? Like, are you just like comfortable with your teams, or is it like was every game just like free, or like what? Like, I don't really know how else to explain it. Like, we're talking like 3 straight finals, one of which was a championship for you. Like, at the start of Gen 9, is it the format? Like, are you comfortable in the format?
Isn't it 4 straight finals? Aren't you in UGA finals too?
Oh my god, he's in UGA
finals. You're in
finals.
UGA finals. So yeah, like
4 straight finals.
Just insane consistency.
Is it Terra? Like,
I feel like, I don't know, because I felt like I was playing pretty fine in Gen 8, but damn, Terra just like, I felt like I adapted really well to Terra, dude. That shit's my sauce, man. That surprise factor of just defensive Terra, offensive Terra. I think It's not an easy thing to adjust to for sure, but I think for me it made a lot more sense just because I always brought more defensive terras than offensive terras, whereas I see more people bringing like offensive. I see a lot of value in the defensive terra. If you can live the hit, you can dish out the hit more often than not. And I don't know. I think my secret sauce is that like if I even have one, I would just have to say I feel confident like all the time, like not cocky, but like confident. Like I'm like, oh, I know this player is good, but like I believe I'm better to an extent, so I'm just gonna play like I'm better than them. And that shit just helps out. If you just have that confidence, like I'm scared for matchups, like Hunter's matchup, Wakeman's matchups. Those are some really hard matchups, and I just go into them like it's just another guy. It's just another another guy I'm fighting. I don't think of like I put value on them for their name and their teams, but just be confident about it and you're gonna play good. You feel like you're good, you're gonna be good.
A mindset thing does make some sense for sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I do have to agree. I kind of value defensive terra more than I value offensive terra. I don't know if that's like controversial or not or whatever, but I just think defensive terra really is, as a bulky offense player, that's just where I'm comfortable. I like having the like, oh, this quad effective mon is now resistant to your hit, get fucked, bozo, like that type of thing. I don't know. So I think, and you've said, you're a pretty safe standard player a lot of the time, and I think having that option of Terra to pivot around defensively or offensively can also just really help, because I guess Terra just adds like a wild card to it, where it's like you don't, like, sure, you play consistently or pretty safely or pretty standardly or whatever, but like if your opponent's not thinking about Terra, that can really just turn the tables instantly. So, and I haven't watched all of your matches or anything like that, so I don't know how much Terra has affected some of the results of your games, but it does, the way you talk, sound like it's a big play in like making game result turning plays. I don't know. I'm rambling a little bit, but that's my thought process. Okay. I guess something else that I want to know is there anything on your UDL team that was kind of unintentionally good for you? Like you kind of just drafted it on a whim and then throughout the season you found out it was actually like super cracked?
Yeah, I mean, this should have been obvious. I didn't know Hippowdon would be that fucking overpowered in a lower tier format, dude. It just wouldn't die. Like, I can look at the kill board right now. Like, Hippo's on it, and if you look at its like kill death, it got like 14 kills, right? Doesn't seem like a lot compared to like the 21 from Toxic's Rotom. But then you have to factor it only died like 5 times. There's only one other Pokemon that had that good of a KD, and it was Rolo's Mudsdale. And I just think that the bulkiness of Hippowdon is actually really useful attack stat, dude. Like, I didn't think it would be that good. And same for Quillfish, dude. Like, that shit was like coming in almost every week. Intimidate, it's like really good defensive typing. Like, it was just really good, consistent.
Hippowdon's another one that I think probably around DLC time it might be a candidate for getting the chopping block and like being banned in low tier, because it, like you said, that thing just kind of sits there and does not die. And it's like, is it the only like manual weather setter we have right now? I guess Hippopotas in low
What
tier.
about do you guys have Abomasnow?
You mean like, Abomasnow.
Abomasnow is in it. Okay.
And then that should be it, right?
I think no, Pelipper's in it too. What am I talking about? I guess Torkoal's
right.
the only one that's banned, but I think Hippowdon could be discussed to be banned once we have a larger Mon list.
That kind of segues into another question I have for you, Depiz. What is your opinion on the automatic weather setters this generation? You've had some success, specifically in UDL with Hippowdon and stuff. I haven't followed your other leagues that closely enough to understand if you've actually used like automatic weather setters other than Hippowdon. But if you have, or if you've played against them, what's your opinion on them? Because I feel like sun and rain are kind of like the premier weathers this generation so far, and snow has some usage, but in low tier without Tyranitar, Hippowdon's really the only automatic, sand setter like in the actual game prior to DLC, you know what I mean? And besides like Hippopotas, I guess. But I feel like weather is really volatile, especially with Terra now, because oh my gosh, like you can do so many things with weather. I was just curious on your opinion because you drafted it. So what's your opinion on the weather modes this gen?
Dude, they're especially strong. I think the two most slept ones is sand and snow, because those are the only ones I've drafted. I drafted snow for SCDA, and I'm gonna tell you right now, bro, Beartick and Obama Snow, dude, they put in the work for me. I don't know if you saw, I beat Panda actually. I got my get back on him in SCDA, and it was the Beartick put in like some of the most work in that matchup. And same with Obama Snow, like they were coming almost every week, and that's another Pokemon I really want to draft, Obama Snow. But weather is just good. Like weather's like at its best. Besides Gen 5, this is like almost peak weather. Like weather has not been this good in a long time. You have Basque Legion. You got the fucking Paradox Pokemon. You've got Lycanroc. He doesn't seem that good. But Endeavor, bro, that like Lycanroc can actually put in a lot of work. Houndstone as well with Last Respects.
Yeah, Houndstone's sweet.
Titan now. Titan's crazy as well. Like, we're eating, bro. Weather lovers like me, we're eating.
Lots of good weather options.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
I have just one more question, actually, Depiz. I noticed throughout the season you never used more than one Lycanroc set. Can we talk about that? What's up with that? It's always Endure Endeavor. Always.
I had tried to switch it up. I brought Life Orb and Choice Band. Like I brought Choice Band versus Hunter, and the issue was I feel like Lycanroc is really like a very one-sided Pokemon. Like Lycanroc being a rock type with like very mild like options and coverage besides like close combat, play rough, like Droll Run. That's like the best it gets. Outside of that, it's not doing that good. Like, what do you do versus Tauros, which I also had to fight like a million times, bro. That shit was really good into my team. The only way to get it off the field, I might Endeavor that thing, and it's gonna die to sand. I might Endeavor it and then kill it with Accelerock, Endeavor it, kill it with something else. It's just good, man. If it isn't broke, just don't fix it, right? Like Lycanroc just never had to do anything else. It's speed, getting those rock slides, and then when it's at 1 HP, just Endeavor something that's really bulky and annoying to break through. That's the value. That was the value in just having Lycanroc.
Okay, fair enough. I just noticed that from paste to paste when I was checking them every week. I was like, this dude brings the same Lycanroc every week. What is he doing? They're gonna read this eventually. I mean, if it works, it works. You made it to finals. I'm nitpicking. Right. I'm not gonna judge you. I didn't make it to playoffs, so But I don't think I have any more questions unless Hunter does.
I do. Cool. On top of, kind of like the weather modes and stuff like that, your run was really impressive this season. I think the Orthworm pickup for you in playoffs was really awesome. Just another way, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but, to synergize with your sand mode already, that's already really awesome. You have, the Hippowdon and the Lycanroc, and then you also have the Noivern, which synergizes really well with those two Pokemon offensively, and you can Earthquake next to Noivern, and now you have another option with Orthworm, which is a really sick mon in low tier that wasn't really used up until playoffs when you picked it up, at least in our draft. I don't know about the other draft. Is there anything, it can be good or bad, is there anything that you think we could change for future UDL seasons? It could be anything.
It's a good one.
I don't know, dude. Like, I love this season. This season was a whole lot of fun. This format, fresh. If there was one thing I had to change, it would just be some tier list Pokemon. Like some Pokemon, I'm not saying like some Pokemon just don't feel low tier. Like Pokemon like Hippowdon, Mudsdale. Another big one was Arboliva, dude. I know I'm like rambling about that Pokemon. It's just because I fought it a lot and it was always really good into me. And then for tier 2, it was a damn steal. I mean, you saw Toxic's team. That was a hate crime, dude. That should not have been a real team at all. But Nah, dude, there's not a lot I would change about the league. I think it's pretty perfect. I mean, we've got the most handsome mod team ever, you know? Like, I'm just saying, man.
You know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're pretty hot, yeah.
Thank you. That's all I have for him.
Okay. I will say I agree with you, though. There are some mons that I don't think will be low tier once the DLC for Scarlet and Violet comes out and we can like have a larger mon list. Our big thing when we were making the tier list was just like if we chop this mon, then tier 1 is like 10 Pokemon long and we don't have anything for people to draft. So that was really the only thing. I think when DLC comes out, we'll definitely things like Hippowdon and Mudsdale will definitely be talked about like being taken off the tier list, because by then you'll have mons that are a bit more low tier centered and could not replace but be better for a low tier list than those mons are. So but yeah, I agree. It was a low tier list this season, but we wanted to play, so you know. But yeah, Depiz, any closing comments for your adoring fans at home?
To my great fans waiting for me at home, you know, that I know there was that little chant going around. I'm not gonna say it, but you know, I think we all know what that chant was. That, you know, toxic, you're the GOAT. Stomp on Depiz, make him choke. Like, you know, you know,
you really said you weren't gonna say it, but then you said it anyway. So what's up?
Okay, because I felt like I was looking at Toby and he was looking confused. So maybe I had to clarify.
Okay, yeah,
but
you had to clarify.
I knew what you were saying.
But you know, I know Gumi. He's one of my top fans. I saw him in UDL saying, UDL saying, GGA saying, you know, Depiz fan club is rising. We gotta rise against the op Wakeman VGC because he called me a nerd. I'm saying, man, I got beef with him. Grudge match going here. And
oh man,
you know, to all my fans, tune in for UGA because I might be taking my second win of the league of this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my second dub.
Fourth straight final.
Fourth straight.
2 for 4 ain't bad. I'm just saying.
Hell yeah.
That is true.
2 for 4 is not bad, bro.
Not at all.
Especially since Scarlet and Violet just came out in like what, November last year.
Yeah, and you're already
4 straight finals.
I mean, I don't think there are many that could say that they've gotten that many finals thus far. Yeah, so you should definitely feel good about that. But I think that is a good place to stop here. Depiz, I want to thank you for coming on. Where can the good people find you?
They can find me on the Depiz YouTube channel. I haven't uploaded in like 3 months, but when I get my graphic card, the content is gonna be pouring out, man.
Oh yeah.
Depiz fans are gonna be eating all around the world. In China, Russia, you know, they still got YouTube there. You know, they're gonna be eating, man. Trust me.
All right. Hell yeah. I will link that down in the description. I will also link Hunter's channel down in the description. I got to go back and fix the description on the Toxic video. I didn't put the links in there because it was 4 a.m. and I was tired, but I'll fix that. I will link their channels down in the description. I will also link Razz's channel because I miss him and I love him, and he's got stuff going on, so he can't be here right now, but he'll be back soon. I'm channeling my inner Razz. I'm wearing the Hawaiian shirt.
There you go.
Because this way he's close, you know?
He's still with us. You
yes,
know what I mean?
Exactly. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching. If you are watching this video, you are a draft degenerate. If you're not subscribed, I'd like to know why the fuck you aren't.
Agreed.
That feels really fucking like selfish and heartless of you to not give your favorite YouTube channel the support that it deserves, you know, likes, comments, subscriptions. You know, that's how we keep this going. That's how we get the word out. That's how we grow into future endeavors and bigger projects maybe sometime down the line. So if you want more Draft Degenerates content, then you should be subscribed. And if you're not, I'm going to find your IP address and Hunter's going to beat you up.
Me too.
Oh, Depiz
yeah, and Depiz too. Okay, all right. Hell yeah.
We'll put you in that BBC lockdown. You do not want to mess with us, man.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, real quick. Hey, Depiz, hit the Griddy real quick.
Hit the Griddy. Hit the Griddy. You know what? End it out with a Griddy. Yeah!
Let's go, dude.
Hell yeah. With that excellent performance, I will leave you there, Draft Degenerates fans. Peace out.
Thanks for watching, guys. Peace
Thank
out.
you for coming.